Windows Server 2019 Standard Edition System Administration. Welcome back everybody. Myself Prakash Pada. I'm trainer for your entire series. Now today's topic I have taken as a day 4 part 1. We will be discussing about a file system. So that's a distributed file system. The main concept of using this distributed file system is to share your file server as a binding or as a centralized mechanism. That means instead of accessing your file from the multiple location, what we do over here, the Microsoft has come up with a new idea over here. It's not new only in this 19, it is given in a previous operating system as well. So over here, the main function of DFS is the full form, as you already know, it's a distributed file system. The main purpose of using a DFS is to share your all the network files that is been scattered everywhere, and here we are going to access all those files shared into different 2 or 3 different locations using the simple one location. For example, if you have got, let's say, 4 computers, all of the 4 computers have shared their folders, their files. Now if a client has to access from this computer number 1 and then computer number 2, so that user need to switch the IP address. That means first he or she is going to dial the first PC's IP address and the second going to do the same thing. That means this is a waste of time, and on top of that, if you are going to access a file from 4 or 5 or let's say more than 10 servers or 10 clients or any 10 workstations, what we do now, we will be confused with typing a number of IPs all the time. So that's why, to avoid this kind of confusion, what the Microsoft has given to us, it's a distributed file system. It will definitely help you to centralize your file organization. That means now if even the files are stored or shared from the 2 or 3 different locations, you can access all those files from a single one location. That means it's something like let's say an example of your shopping mall. When you go to the shopping mall, your all the things that you're supposed to buy, you'll find under one roof. That means only one name of that one shopping mall, entire clients or the customers are going to visit, and whatever items they are supposed to buy, they can buy from the one workstation. That means under one roof. So over here, DFS does similar to that. Rather than visiting one PC to next PC in order to access any kind of file or in terms of your file server, now over here with the help of DFS, you can access all the files sitting in a single location and having single one name. So entire files that is being shared or scattered over your network will be actually binded in a single file name, a single access point over here that is known as a namespace. Okay, so without wasting your first time, further let's move to our domain controller. So it's my domain controller where the file server role is also even not installed. So first, what we need to do in order to access or in order to have a full feature of your distributed file system, you are supposed to install a DFS file server role as well as the file service role. So let's do that first. Over here, it's in file and storage. Over here, if you notice, file server role is already installed. DFS, distributed file system, this has to be stored. If you notice over here, the DFS replication is also there. Okay, so right now in this part 1 of day 4, we are not going to talk about the replication of your namespace. Obviously, this is also one of the most important point or the part that we are going to discuss in our next video in order to have the failover of your namespace server. Like we had a failover of our DHCP server. If one server goes down, another DHCP server will immediately start functioning. We also have a failover for our primary domain controller. That means if the primary domain controller goes down, then definitely the secondary or as a partner server is going to start its work immediately, so that the work will go on. That means the business will not hamper. Similarly, even our namespace might get failed sometime. That means one DFS server might get failed. In that case, none of the clients are going to be able to access any of the files. So that's why in order to overcome those issues, we do have an option for the DFS. But in this series, we are not going to talk about the replication. First, I am going to show you how to create your DFS namespace management. So let's start adding this role. Now further, you don't need to add any of the features from here. If you are in need of adding some of the features from your as per need, that's okay. But for installing or just configuring your DFS namespace, you don't have to add any of the features from here. So let's go and install it. Let it install this DFS service. Okay, now in between, what we are going to do now, I'm going to switch you to my client machine, and let's see if there is any file shared in this client machine. Okay, it is my client machine. I would like to log in with my admin privilege so that it do not disturb me. So let's see if anything is shared from here. First, I would like to show you the IP address of this client machine. If you remember, it's 2, I guess. Yeah, of course, it's 2. So let's see if there is anything shared. Great. There's a one folder called from client 1, and I guess there is a one file also. Okay, now this file is shared over the network. Similarly, if I go to my primary domain controller where it's been adding your namespace server, by the time let's try if there is any file shared in the as well. Okay, it's a primary server. These two are the by default shared folder. It's not shared. That means let's share one folder, giving a permission to everyone with the full privilege. Okay, let's create one folder. Let's say this is from PDC. Okay, and let's insert some file and share this having a full permission to all the clients. Because we are in testing environment, I do believe you all know the process of removing inheritance while sharing a file, but this is simply a what you call your testing environment. So I'm going to share it, giving everyone a full permission so that we can centralize the file shares in 2 different locations using your DFS. Okay, so it is done. Close. Now if you want to make it share, this file is already shared. Fine, fantastic, done. See, now it's here. So now let's see if the role is being added. Okay, it's almost okay, it's been added. Okay, now if I need to access my both the files or both the folders that is been shared from the primary this domain controller as well as from the client machine. See, this one folder is here and another one folder that's been shared over here in your primary domain controller as well. See here, like this. Now if you say that I need to centralize all those 2 folders which are shared in 2 different locations, I need to get access over the one name location only. In that case, we are going to bring the full utilization of the feature that we call a DFS. Now since the DFS role is being added over here, the further work is the configuration. Okay, now if I go down to the tools, I guess by the time it's been listed over here, DFS, okay, now see here, DFS management, it's been added. So now what we are going to do, we are going to configure this DFS so that the files shared in 2 different locations can be accessed from the one location. If you can learn, you know, just centralizing a file shared in 2 different locations, it's equivalent to 2 million because the process is same. There is nothing new. Okay, there is nothing in our namespace. So right click and create a new namespace. So I'm going to give my, okay, it's asking you the server first. Which one is the main server that you're going to use it as a namespace server? In our case, of course, it's the DC one. It's our domain controller. Over here, we're going to host it. This namespace, that's why I'm going to use it. This one, DC one. Okay, it's asking the primary server where you are going to host it. Next. Now, next it should ask you the name. What name would you like to give so that the client can access over the network? So let's say file server. So client is going to hit this event. That means hit this object name, file server along with your namespace so that client can access your file that's been scattered everywhere. After that, if you have a look over here, the namespace can be having in 2 types. One is a domain-based namespace and second one is the standalone. Obviously, we're going to do this one in activity in the integrated zone. So that's why we're going to select only this one, domain-based namespace. If you want to have, it's a standalone. Okay, you might not be having all the features comparing to the domain-based namespace. That's why I'm going to use only this first option. After that, now it's going to give you the summary, whatever you selected. Okay, your DFS namespace will be file server along with your domain name. Now if you notice over here, your namespace full name will be /biotech.co/file server. That means now if I bind all the files that's been shared in 2 or 3 or 4 different locations, creating this namespace, so the whenever client hit this name, that means the file that's been shared or scattered over the 4 servers or 4 clients or the 4 workstations, it's going to get displayed via this. That means you don't have to switch in 2 or 3 or 4 different locations. Now it's creating, fantastic, it's done quickly. I feel good whenever I see this green checkbox. Otherwise, you know the consequence. If it gives the some error, that means the rate, oh my god, then we get so many issues. Okay, now it's done. It's done. I guess you are lucky for today. Now, this one is only a namespace. If you want me to test it over here, nothing is added over here. So let's say .co and serve. See, it's been listed automatically. It's smart enough. Now, but if you notice, there is no folder, there is no file because I have not set anything over here. This is just a name only. Now in this name I'm going to bind it. That means I'm going to merge the file. I'm going to drag the location of this all the files and folder that I would like to access from the single location. Now I need to create a new folder. This one is a virtual name. You can give any name over here. Testing. Let's say just a testing is more than enough, I guess. Now it's asking you where is the folder target. That means this is the name you give just for your convenience sake. That means when I click this one, the file or folder that should get open from some other target. So I'm going to browse it from my own server. Okay, let's see my own server, this DC one, and if I click over here, all the shared folders are going to list. If you remember, this folder was shared, which we have seen last time in a share folder option. Okay, now if you like to set the new permission and all, it is up to you. It depends upon you. Now, so it's done. Okay, it's been added. Okay, now see over here, it's showing some sort of your redirection. If you remember, there are so many options. One of them is a folder redirection that we're going to learn in this coming days. But over here, this icon means it's redirected. That means the file or folder that you're going to access from here, actual location, it may not be here. Okay, now if I wanted to access this one, the file server, fantastic. See, the testing folder is done and the file is also been accessed. But my prime concern is not to access the file or show you how to access a file shared from within the server. Anyone can do this, but my prime concern is I would like to centralize the file that's been shared in two different locations. Okay, that means when I hit this address, okay, when I hit this address, my two folders should get open at the same time. That means the one folder is from within this PC, this server, and another folder or file from the another PC that I have shared in a workstation. If you notice over here also I have shared one folder. So this from client one folder is also supposed to be get listed whenever I hit this command over here. It's not been displayed so far. Okay, now I need to add another folder as usual. So let's say from client 2, for example. Okay, and just to give add it, this is important now. It's asking you, okay brother, where is the folder target? In my case, my folder target is not here. See, our folder target is this from the client. My folder name is from client 1, and if I wanted to search the name of that folder, it's not listed here. Why? Can you guess? Because you have not browsed the name. See, this is the domain controller. Now I need to choose that name. Okay, advanced and find it. Since we are in Active Directory domain, it's a bit easy. Now this is that PC from where I have said that, from client PC. Now see, have you noticed this folder displayed just now because the name of the workstation is being changed? Okay, fantastic, everything is going on well. It's added. Okay, now you see, if you notice over here, when I hit this one, it's going to display both the folders. So let's try it. Okay, and don't forget, I'm hitting this target file server from my domain itself. Fantastic. See, both are done. Since the permission is given with the full, I'm going to add something new. Okay, let's say this was added as an example of DFS. You can write anything you want. Okay, and I don't need to add any text, just a file has been created. Now if I go back to my client PC, if I refresh it, okay, no, I don't need to refresh, it's here only. See this, have you noticed this? It's been added. But now what about if this workstation wanted to access the file that's been shared over here, 1.1? This is listed. See, this is from PDC. Okay, this is the name of your file server. There are so many ways you can deploy this via group policy also, or that client, you can also teach them to access this via this way, viatech.co file server. Okay, smart enough. See, now both the folders are displayed over here. That means similar way, if you have got multiple workstation or multiple servers or multiple domain in your network infrastructure, so it might be having your primary domain controller, read-only domain controller, it might be having your forest trust, internal trust, external trust, so many ways are there. That means the main purpose of using this DFS that's been given over here in Windows Server 2019, the main purpose of using this DFS is to share your all the scattered files and folders via one centralized location, as we have done over here. Okay, so this is the best way actually. Entire things are here. Okay, it's been redirected, it's been added. So this way it saves your time rather than switching from one workstation or one server to the next server. So this was the demonstration how your Active Directory what you call integrated zones distributed file system. Okay, I hope this video was bit fruitful to you. Okay, it added something to your knowledge, and you should be able to deploy distributed file system and share your folder in a centralized location rather than accessing your files and folder or switching every time writing their IP address. So that's not a good idea. So that's why, thanks to this DFS role that's been given by the Microsoft. So I would like to thank you for watching this video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.